Hello, welcome to the Aquarian Mind podcast. Today's podcast episode number 352. I'm your host, Jamel Crothers. You guys know what time it is. It's Mondays with Mello. Today, we're talking about eliminating negative energy from your life. Now, I need you to do something for me. I need you to do your best to eliminate negative energy in your life. I'm going to delve into a few things in this podcast today, and it's not necessarily what you think. Now, of course, I will talk about people, but there are some other things that you don't even realize are negative energies affecting your life. Are you ready? Here we go. We can all start with eliminating people who have negative energy. We all have at least one person in our life that brings negative energy daily, and sometimes they don't even realize it. Complaining about something, how something is always someone else's fault, or is always down in the dumps about something. Now, life is the transfer of energy, and trust me, you can take on a person's energy whether you want to or you don't. Now, they'll call you after the pleasantries and asking how you're doing. There's a story coming. That's when it all heads downhill, and you know where the conversation is going. It happens the same way when you're in person. You just know you have to feed them from a long spoon, whoever it is, whether it's a family member, a friend, a coworker, an associate, whoever, right? Now, I need you to protect your energy as best as you can. Negativity can float over your head and will drain you spiritually. We have to be careful who we let around us, who we associate ourselves with, and who we allow into our space. Now, the next component of this is eliminating negative energy and in regards to music, right? Because there are frequencies that infiltrate our eardrums and can affect our subconscious mind. Hardcore rock, hip hop are the big ones where our energy can be sucked out of us. It's all genres of music at this point, with the exception to maybe lo-fi music, but everything else affects our energy daily. So we have to be careful of what music artists we're listening to and how much of them, we're taking in. They're harvesting your energy, and even mine, and we don't even realize it. So we have to try to eliminate that negative energy from our lives as best as we can. And it can be challenging when you love a certain artist or you love certain music, but it's not always the best to listen to certain artists daily. So in my mind, I'm noticing that, sometimes my energy can be a little off, and, I listen to certain artists and a lot of the music is not the best in the world. So I try to balance out things as far as my music. So as I'm getting older, I can't listen to hip hop music all the time and every day, right? Honestly, there are days where I will literally listen to ambient electronic music for the majority of my day. 80% of my day, I'm listening to that. And then there's times where I'm just listening to lo-fi music and it's relaxing and it's calming and it, kind of relaxes my mind a little bit. There aren't words being uttered into my eardrums. And sometimes going to concerts, being in casinos a lot, being in large crowds such as sporting events where the energy isn't always good, that can affect you too. And I say that because you guys know I'm an empath, and being in large crowds isn't always the best thing for me. It can suck the energy out of me. And I notice that a lot when I go to baseball games a lot of times. Probably about halfway through the game, all of a sudden my energy is just gone. And I'm just like, why am I so tired? But then I'm looking around and I'm around 20,000 people. And I'm like, okay, that explains why I'm so tired. It doesn't happen to everyone, but I will say that it does happen to me. Now, it's hard to believe, but it's true. And I say it because, I do take in a lot of people's energies, and it's why I don't like being in large crowds of people as much. I even went to like this big food festival. It was called Foodie Land, and I went like toward the end of March, and I was there for a few hours, and not only did the sun like suck the life out of me because I am in Arizona, but I literally was around thousands of people, and it drained me. Like literally, like I went on a Saturday, like that next day on that Sunday, I literally like only talked to my mother like probably about 3 times that day, and literally was in my house. So that's what I'm saying as far as energy. Now, when I talk about music concerts and things of that nature, if you guys know, you know, right? Certain concerts, bad things happen sometimes with some of the bigger artists. So you guys know who I'm referring to, you know who I'm talking about. So if you don't know, go research it, go look it up, and you guys will see what I'm talking about, right? The next aspect of this is television programming, and it's full of negative energy, and we have to be careful of what we're watching sometimes and how much of it. And I'm guilty of loving crime TV shows, and I can watch them for long periods of time, but I'm learning to cut down on that because it can affect my energy and my subconscious mind, right? So, yeah, it's great to know, crime and, all the bad things that happen in the world sometimes, and, to make sure to be aware of like our surroundings, but it can also have you living in fear all the time. And, those things can live in your subconscious mind. So we all know that the news is just an energy drainer full of negative energy anyway. The news articles that are posted on the internet every day. There's a lot of drama and negativity to suck the energy out of you. So we have to be mindful of what we're taking in daily. Those reality TV shows like the cook shows, the housewives of whatever city you can think of, because at this point, they've created the housewives of every major city in the United States and even in other countries, which I actually didn't know about. I had no knowledge about until I watched a YouTube video recently of an older gentleman who was talking about relationships, and then he brought up the reality TV shows, and my facial expression was like, wait, what? Like the Housewives of Dubai, but that just tells you how much I'm out of the loop with cable TV and, certain TV apps and things of that nature. Yeah, I don't immerse myself and pay attention to it. It's like pretty much after like Housewives of like Atlanta and like LA and stuff like that. Like I just was like, oh, okay, great. And you keep it moving, right? But anyway, the point is, and in a nutshell, we need to eliminate as much negative energy out of our lives as possible. So it can't just be, okay, well, I'm going to eliminate certain people or I'm going to feed them from a long spoon, because there's a whole lot of other negative energies that come around us and, are around us on a daily basis, right? So we have to be cognizant and mindful of like, what we project out into the world, what we say, how we conduct ourselves, how we live our lives, and, how we do certain things, right? Now, don't get me wrong. We all have like that one or two friends that are always kind of down in the dumps or always focused on unnecessary BS. And I'm someone who's brutally honest and truthful with a lot of things. So sometimes I can come off a little harsh, but I try to be aware of what people are thinking about. I try to be empathetic, but sometimes after a while, you can't be empathetic when it's the same song playing on repeat over and over again. It's like playing a broken record on a record player that no longer works. Yeah. Sometimes I have to be like, look, that's an issue right now, but you only can control certain aspects of that issue, and you need to focus on the things that you can control in your life. So sometimes we have to really kind of sit and analyze ourselves a lot more. And that's something I do more of these days. I start observing, okay, as long as I have the right people around me, good energy, but I'm naturally a loner anyway. I roll solo. I know a lot of you who are listening probably do at times. So there's nothing wrong with that. That's great. But this goes beyond the people that you have around you. It's more than people. It's music, it's television, it's, how you live your life, whether you work out, whether you eat right, whether you think the right way, whether you focus on the things that are most important, and whether you have the right mindset. So I'm going to leave it at that. I thank you for listening to the podcast today. As always, save this podcast, come back to it, listen to it, reflect, remember the things that I am saying. There may be a podcast later down the road where I kind of address this a little bit more and more in depth, but I'm going to kind of leave it here to give you the time to process all the things that I've spoken about for the past few minutes. TheAquariumMindPodcast.com is the website. You can find all of my stuff. My podcasts are not on Google Podcasts anymore. If you guys don't know, Google has kind of shifted out of that, and they've shifted everything to YouTube Music. I haven't transferred it over because I'm kind of planning a different route with that. So as things kind of change and progress, I'll let you know. All right. Have a good week. Be good and go accomplish your goals.